Getting someone out of bed and into a wheelchair when they have progressed later in dementia. They're in an amber, ruby, maybe even in and out of a pearl state. They have the ability to take some weight on their feet if you get their feet on the floor, but they're not able to initiate or do movements without a lot of support and a lot of guidance. I'm going to take you through how to help someone go from lying in the bed, rolling to the side, sitting on the side of the bed, getting on a preferred assist transfer belt, and I'll tell you why. Then what we're going to do is pivot transfer from the bed to the chair and scoot back in the chair so we're ready to go. You ready? Sounds a little intense, and until you master the skills, it may feel that way. Once you figure it out, it makes life and your back and shoulders so much safer. Plus, the person living with dementia is engaged throughout the task, and the risk of having something go sideways or wrong goes way down. So let's get started. So as always, it starts with a positive physical approach. Getting connected and making sure Carolyn appreciates what I'm doing when she's in a ruby pearl state or amber before I get going. Carolyn. Hey.
Hey.
How are you? Ooh.
Okay.
Fingers are cold.
Yeah.
We're going to get up.
Okay.
Yeah. So Carolyn,
Yep.
I'm going to have you bend your knee. Now, I actually did most of the work there. What I did is when Carolyn had her leg out, I cued her leg to bend, and I actually supported my arm on her other leg and brought it up. When I do that, it puts her foot where she's going to be able to push to help with the turn. I've got her knee bent. I'm going to take my one hand and put it here. I'm going to have her reach for me. Reach across, and I'm going to take her shoulder and bring it over. So I was cupping her scapula, her shoulder blade, and I had my hand at the knee and I brought the leg in a little bit. So now she's on her side. What happens next? Take a look, if you would, swing on around, because I want you to notice how wide my hips are splayed. I want to have my knees against the bed with my back straight. I'm not leaning in and I'm not bending. I'm using the strongest muscles in my body. I am now going to say, let's bring your legs off, and I'm going to cup the legs and put her in what looks like a seated position here. I will lift her head, bring my arm underneath to her scapula. I will take this hand and place it in front of her pelvis, and I'm going to say, there we go. And what I'm using is a fulcrum movement. I did very little work. Carolyn actually simply sat up because I put pressure here, supported here, and her body naturally came into alignment. What I'm going to do next is make sure her feet are solidly on the floor, all the way down, and she's stable. Now, that was a lot of work. Actually, it wasn't. And it wasn't because I used body mechanics. I kept myself safe, and Carolyn feels in control. Now, next step. We're ready for the actual transfer. I want to make sure the surface I'm going to put her on is in the right place. Never taking a hand away, I want to make sure she's stabilized. I will reach across. Now, what does that mean? I got to make sure my wheelchair was within reach. I'm going to bring it in close to the bed as I can get it, so this is a short transition. I'm going to make sure I have the brakes on. I don't want this moving while we're working. Next, I could do this without a gait belt. I'll show you that, but then I'm going to show you what happens if you do have one. And if you have one, the one I recommend. I'm going to come here. I'm going to put both of my knees on either side of Carolyn's kneecap. I'm going to ask Carolyn to put her hands on my hips. I'm going to have her look over the shoulder and lean forward. My hands come around to the upper part of her low back, and I am going to cue her to stand up, and we are going to pivot over to the chair. Now, when I did that, notice that my back stayed straight. Notice that Carolyn's hands stayed low. And when she did the move, both of us stayed safe. So Carolyn, if you would. This is a transfer belt that's designed to help me help Carolyn if she has a wider girth, or if she's bony, or if she doesn't like me putting her hands on her as much. What's nice about it is it has a wide span, which means I'm not digging in. It also has padding, which is going to create a greater safety net around her trunk. I'm going to reach around. We're going to put it in place. It is designed to come around and secure so that it's firmly connected, and it's not as likely to move up on the body as many transfer or gait belts are. Now, as I did before, the only difference is I have this. Her head will still come to this side. I'll say lean forward. There you go. Stand up, and we do a little dance. And now sit down. There you go. Good job. Same idea, a little bit different, because now I have the ability to guide and direct. For those of you who are saying, yikes, I don't know if I'm up for this. You may not be, due to your own physical condition, your own mental health, or your own fear of something going wrong. You may not be the right person. What I would say is this video may help someone who's in this situation, and that's why we did it.